Okay. Let me continue. I start again. Okay. So for this course, the first part you have gone through together with Dr. Anissa is about the introduction to the research methodology, and then some related research works on on this topic. Okay. Then after that, you also know how to obtain the research papers. Okay, I think Dr. Anissa have shared with you a few of the methods, for example, ResearchGate, the Google Scholars. Yeah, for through this platform you can obtain your research paper. Okay, so in the second part of the lecture, in the second part of the lecture, it will be the week 5 until the week number 8. Okay, so for the week 5 and for the week 5 until the week number 8 here. Okay, so what we are going okay, for these 4 weeks, only the 3 weeks. So the 3 weeks I will go through with you is some how to evaluating the statistical journals. Okay, so for these 3 weeks, I divided into the 3 different parts. So the first one is I will go through is about the literature review. Okay, I will talk about in general, and then I use a few of the examples for the statistical journals. Of course, your some paper may not be purely statistical, okay, but the inside the journal itself, they consist of the components statistics knowledge. So therefore, the statistic methodology you can apply to the many of the different disciplines. Okay, so for week number 5, I will go through with you is the literature review. After that, week number 6, I will through the journal papers or through the journals paper, I will show you about the methods. Okay, I do not touch on the specific methods. Okay, because I know that everybody have a different area of the research area, and that as well as also everybody also have their own interest. Then myself also not necessarily all the research area I'm familiar with. So I will use a few of the examples in general. I will show you about their methods. Okay. Then the week number 7, I will go through those of the paper with the applications. But of course, when you are discussed with the methodology, they will overlap with the application. Okay. So basically, these 3 weeks, I will go through with you about the journal paper only. Okay. My example is through the journal paper. I have uploaded all the 12 journal paper I will going to discuss. I will briefly tell you about the contents. How are you going to look at the literature review? How do you get your ideas? Yeah. So through these 3 weeks, then after that, I give you the assignment tool for do some do it for the presentation. Okay, for the assignment tool. So the assignment tool will related to your research. I think the research paper you're going to find. And then this one, I believe that every student you have your own supervisor. Okay, whether your topic is you have finalized your topic or you just tentatively have a topic. That one I think is just doesn't matter. But as long as everybody you have your supervisor, you can have a discussion for this course. Okay. So after this week, you can discuss with your supervisor, because in this assignment you are required to take out the research research paper, and then after that you have a discussion. Okay, later on I will show you the assignment tool. So basically I will go through this thing. After that, the week number 9 until the week number 13, you will discussion with your own supervisor to prepare for your final research proposal. Okay, so through the discussion after this week. Okay, so this one is here. And then for your information, as you can go through this one is the current course information. This one is the second part. Okay, I believe that all of you will have gone through the assignment 1 with the Dr. Anissa, where they will take 2 days to complete the presentation parts. Okay, plus the Q&A. Okay, so our assignment though, we will fix it on the 12th and the 13th of December. This one will fall in the 12th is on the Sunday, and then 13th on the Monday. Of course, if you have I know that many of you are working. So if you have any question or you cannot fix the time, you just inform me so that we can swap the time, the slot. Okay. So this one is here. All this information you can get from the Spectrum. I have uploaded this thing. Okay. So this one is about the course information. Yeah. Okay. This one is an assignment too. Later on, I will put it. I'll put it in the Spectrum. I will put it in the Spectrum. Okay. So before I start with the literature review parts, okay. So for the assignment number 2, okay. First thing, you identify the research area of interest, what you are going to work on. Okay. So for your assignment number 1, you can have one research area. Assignment number 2, if possible, you will use the same, the same research topic. Otherwise, for this course, you consist of the 3 assignments. Then you have 3 different topic. Okay, so it's this one is up to you. We have a flexibility there. If you wish to have 3 different research area for the 3 assignments, that one is up to you, up to your choice. But my suggestion is you just continue from the first assignment, then extend to the second assignment, then it's final assignment. Okay, so this one will be save a lot of the finding the materials. Okay, so the first one will be identify the research area of interest, and then you just take out if you are working on the certain research area. For example, you are working on the medical, you wish to working on the medical, so you just take out the 3 related paper in that particular area. Okay, so for example, if you want to interested on the research area on the medical and then on the COVID-19 disease, so you will just take out the 3 related papers. Okay, then after that you just summary whatever in the paper they have summarized it. You just make the summary of these 3 research paper. So of course these three research paper must be related. If they not related, the related is means that if you are working on the same area like the medical and then the COVID-19, then they must be the related. Otherwise, you cannot see what is the relationship of that. Okay, and then you make the summary of the literature review of all these papers. Okay, and then you just briefly discuss the methodology used for the paper. I do not require you to understand the whole methods inside the paper. So no need to go to study in detail about methods. Okay, so when I discuss our methodology in the following week, then I will tell you. I do not require now you going to understand about all the methodology. Of course, if you can be list down, then it's fine. If you do not have, you cannot list it down, then you briefly tell what are the methodology they use. Okay, they derive the equation, then they find the properties. You just tell in general. Okay, so bear in mind that this one, I do not ask you to go in deep about their methods. Okay, then after that, once you have this thing, then you compound it as a one research project, one research as a one report. Okay, so I believe that 3 papers, if you are identify your research area, then it's easy for you to just take out the 3 related paper. Then from the 3 related paper, you can see from the first paper to the second paper, if you find the suitable or you can find the 3 related paper, then you can see the research area is from the one paper extend to another one and then extend to the 3rd one. Okay, so this one is for the assignment number 2. Okay. And then we have the presentation on the week number 8. As I mentioned to you, there's a date. Then the presentation duration is roughly around 10 minutes plus a Q&A. But sometimes you can extend, the time can be extended. Okay, this is due to your when you present, when you Q&A section, we will take some time. Okay, therefore I allocate for 2 days, but some not necessarily we use out for the 2 hours or 3 hours for the 2 session. Okay, and then before you go for the presentation on the 12th. So I give you the time to submit the this one online by the 11th of December. The reason I set the 11th of December because I want to go through first your what you have submitted, so that during the Q&A I can ask you the question during that time. Okay, so I need the time to go through all your slides first. Not the slide, sorry, it's a report and the slide, yeah, so that I have a time to go through it. Then during your Q&A session, I can ask a question. Okay. So this one is basically for the assignment 2. We'll do it on the week number 8. Okay. So if you have any question, you also can ask me from the week from the next week or the following week. Okay. So our objective in this second part is just related to the use the research paper and then identify the 3 and then literature review, and then finally is a methodology. Okay. So this one is I will upload this information to the I will upload in the spectrum here. Okay. Yeah, this one is for the assignment number 1. So the assignment number 2, I will upload it later on. Okay, but I have changed the sequence of the presentation. Okay, so I will on this one later on. Okay, I will change the sequence. Those of them go for the Sunday one, I may interchange it to the Monday, and then those of them from the Sunday one go back to the Monday. Okay, and so on. Okay, so if you are unable to do it or due to you have a working schedule, then you just inform me so that we can interchange it. Okay. Any question?
Doctor.
Yeah.
May I know, there are 3 research papers we need to find. One of the papers can we use back? We do in the assignment 1.
Okay, you can do that also. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can use the previous one also can. Okay. Yeah.
What's the difference between the report and the presentation slides?
Okay, the report is when it means that you just when you have write down your summary, you put in the present. But in your report, you may not be your report is just summary. So when you do the presentation, I think you just prepare for a few slides only. Correct. You just prepare for a few slides, just summary what you have only. The report is some sort of the wording where its maximum is 500 words. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is presentation slide, maybe a few slides only. If you cannot submit on time, doesn't matter. But the report and the related research paper, you need to submit it before that. For the presentation side, if you wish to change it, then you don't no need to upload it on the 11th. Also doesn't matter. Okay. You can be uploaded after your presentation is fine, but as long as your report and the related research paper, you need to upload it before that, so that I aware that what type of the research area or what type of the research you are going to discuss on it. Because I'm not familiar with so many research area, I'm not the all the area I'm familiar with. Okay. So the time, if you during the time here, even though you don't upload it, I still allow you to upload it. I do not fix it at the this time. If you still unable to upload on time, you just let me know. Any more questions?
Doctor?
Yeah.
So yeah, the report will be maximum 500 words, so it will be quite brief, yeah? So we don't have to do like an introduction or anything. It's just jump straight to, okay.
Straight, you just straight to the 3 research paper. Then from the research paper, you just take out their literature review part. Literature review part means that their introduction only.
Okay, and the methodologies as well.
Yes. Then as I mentioned to you, the methodology, you no need to spell out what is the techniques, specific technique they use. Then how they derive the formula is no need. You just tell in the wording. But of course, you want to put in your wording also can. Or you want to put the complete. Yeah.
Yeah, don't need to be like this is the equation and this is what this means, that means all that.
Not necessary.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because so
Thank
far you still don't know. I think you still do not derive the formula yet. So I don't want to burden you all. We no need to go in detail about how this formula it come from. I think this one will take a quite long time. So therefore, it's no need.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay. Any more?
Hi, doctor. I
Yeah.
have a question. Yeah. Just now you mentioned that we'll have to summarize the literature review and methodologies. Does this mean that we have to like not only review on that paper but also summarize like other papers that are being
No,
mentioned?
summarize it for these 3 papers, literature review only.
Oh.
Only these 3 papers. You
Okay.
only choose. Therefore, these three papers must be related. Otherwise, you will summarize different things.
Okay. Means we don't have to summarize the literature review section on inside the paper.
On this paper only. What you have understand after you reading the paper, then what you can understand, you just summarize the literature review section on these 3 papers. That's all.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah. It's not ask you to go for the let's say I'm choosing the topic on the Bitcoin, then I need to give the comprehensive literature review on the Bitcoin. No, it's just based on the research paper you selected. Okay. Any more? Okay. If you don't have question, but anyway, after the class, you still can ask me, or the next week after we go through the first part, you still can ask me the question if you're not sure about the assignment too. Okay, so the important thing is just find the 3 research paper. Okay, then first thing is identify the research area of interest. Okay, I set it as a maximum 5 words. Of course, you can be put not too extra, but it's I think 500 words it should be enough. Okay. Okay. You do not have any question, so that I will start the lecture class today. Okay. I have reorganized the research paper. I have reorganized the research paper. Then I put in the zip file. Okay, I put in the zip file so that I reorganize it with the numbering. Okay, I have renumbering the research paper in the according to the following order. Okay, so these are a few of the examples. The 12 research paper where their nature of the research will be different. The nature of the research, of course, different, and then the content itself will be different. Okay. So for the research paper I given to you, later on I will tell you one by one. Okay, I will only, I think everybody, you have all the 12 papers here. Okay, I just selected out a few of them and then I just group them into the different category only. Okay, sometimes certain research paper, they may overlap to each other. Okay, they may be overlap in the type of the research work. So I just want to briefly tell you what type of the research paper is available, so that when you go for your the research project, you know, okay, this type what type of the journal paper I'm looking at. Then how from the literature review, what type of the research question I can get the idea from the literature review parts. Okay, so that you can in future, if you plan to further your study, then you will know that, okay, after reading the papers from this paper, what the main contribution of this paper, and then how they want to extend their work. Okay, so literature review will be very important in the research where a lot of the previous research work have been summarized out in their research paper. And then from the research paper also, you can get the idea how the research is can be what are the research gaps you can be find. Okay. So what I can just summarize it out, because in this section I just doing the evaluation of the journals paper. So therefore I will go through the research paper one by one, all the 12 research paper. Okay, I will let you know what are the research paper they have. Okay, so in fact, I just group it. This one is do not have a the clear definition. Okay, so the research paper I group them as a the first one is a survey paper. Okay, those of the researcher, they will write out the survey on that particular research topic. So if you can get the research paper on the survey paper, then they can summarize a lot of the previous research work. So this one is when you want to find out the continue for this type of research, then it's save a lot of the time for you to go through, so that you can have a brief introduction on the research topic. Okay. So the first type of the research paper, maybe they are called as a survey paper. So means that they survey on the certain research topic. The second one, okay, because you are go through the statistic, the cost of the statistic, but of course in future, maybe some of you plan to further your study in the different area. For example, you want to work with the medical. So means that you need the statistical tools. Or some of you plan go for the economy. Or some of you may go for the finance. So you need to have some techniques. Okay, so the technique itself, they can be the theoretical techniques. Okay, you need to derive out the certain theoretical techniques. Okay, and then or you provide the certain methodology, means that you provide the new models. So this one I group it as a second one, where they only have a very theoretical work. Okay, so some journal paper, you can see that they have just a theoretical work. Then they derive the theorems. They will provide you the theorems, and then they provide the methods, how they want to work out the new distribution, how they want to work out the new estimation techniques. Yeah, this type of the paper is with the theoretical and the methodology. Okay, so in fact, what I say the theoretical is means that they have derived a lot of the theorems, and then they also will be linked together with the methods as well. Okay, and then some journal paper, they talk about their methods. Of course, all the techniques, all the journal paper, they have their methodology. Okay, they talk about their methodology. So the methodology here is what I mean is they propose the certain models, and then they just tell you in the wording. But sometimes when they propose a model, they do not have a theoretical proving, like writing in the theorems wise. So therefore, I call it as just a methodology and with the application together. Okay, means that after they mention about, okay, they propose a model A, then after that they will provide the applications, how to use the model A. Okay, so you can see that some journal paper may be in this nature, or they have a theoretical, they have a methodology and application as well. It's also possible. So as I mentioned, we do not have a very clear cut about the different journal paper. But the survey paper, you can see that they will write a lot of the previous study. For these two, actually, most of the paper right now, they consist of all these components, theoretical results, the methodology and application. But depends on how far is it their theoretical result they provided. Some of them, they provide the full proving parts. Some of them, they just briefly tell you. Okay, so these two will be under the same category. Okay, and then certain research paper under the statistic is just purely application. Means that you have existing techniques, then you just apply the existing technique to the certain research topic. So this one is the application. For example, just now we analyze the survival rate of the medical in the medical. So they purely use the existing technique for the application. But of course, some medical papers where they relate to statistics, they also have their theory and the methods. Then they go for the application. Okay. So basically, the application is just they just use their existing technique, and then they compare. Then they make the conclusion. Whereas the survey is they survey for the previous research work. Then for these two parts, they have a theory, they have a methods, they have an application, all work together. Okay. So this one is basically we will go through. So I gave you this a few 12 papers. The first paper, because the first 3 papers, okay, the first 3 paper will be the first one is by the Bajura, okay. So this one is the survey paper. It's one type of the survey paper. Means that the survey on the previous models under this research area. Okay, what they call as autoregressive conditional duration models in the finance. So a survey on the theoretical and the empirical literature. Okay, so this paper, if you are interested, you can go through it. Okay, so in this type of the paper, if you are working on this particular area, the autoregressive, if you are working on this area, this one is basically they apply in the finance. So this autoregressive conditional duration model, then they can they apply in the finance. Okay, they provide many of the theoretical models. Okay, and then the theoretical formulation of the models, they will discuss it here. So you can get out the more up-to-date information. But of course, this paper is not up to date. This paper have been published in the year 2008. Okay, so those of the previous model, if you're working on this area, then you can get from this survey paper will help you a lot when you want to do the survey. Because when we want to do the literature review, some certain model we are overlooked. Okay, because nowadays there are too many research journals. And then also they have many research topics and the research area. Okay, so therefore you want to get the information, you just depends on the Google Scholar, the ResearchGate. Sometimes it may not get the comprehensive survey. So one of the way you can get the information is through the survey. But if you want to write this type of the survey paper, I believe that is you need to have a knowledge on this particular topic. Then you only can write down all these things. Okay. So the first paper I show you here, because the first paper will be linked to the third paper later on. Okay. So in this research paper, if you are talking about the survey paper, you can observe it the abstract here. So in the abstract, they will tell you that they will do the survey on this particular topic. It's called the ACD model. Okay. After that, what they have mentioned to you in the paper here, they want to discuss the existing properties of the ACD model. When you're talking about the financial model or any of the model, they will include the model, the standard model and their extension. Okay, so that they have a group or the family of the ACD model. And then when we have a model itself, of course, some people will include, you have a model, then you apply the model, you need to test the model, whether this model is fulfill the assumptions. So this one is a diagnostic test. Then after that, they join model for the arriving times and some market characteristic. So these are the certain properties of the model itself. Okay. And then beside this thing, they also provide the empirical application of the ACD models. So they have many of the different type of models. Then they provide the application. Finally, they provide for you the possible future research. So some research question, if you are interested about certain research question, they will write in the journals paper. Certain author, they will put in the future research in their conclusion. So where you can have guidelines or you can have an idea, how are you going to find the research topic, how are you going to find the research area? What is the research gaps? Yeah, so you through this type of the paper, but not only the survey paper will write the future research. Some of the research paper they also put it in their conclusion, so that if from there you can see that from this research I can extend to the other area. Okay, so if you look at the survey paper, these are the abstract what they mentioned to you. So from the abstract we can know what they are going to do with the on this research topic. Okay, so about the introduction parts, I do not go through in detail because may not be everybody are interested on this topic. Okay, so of course in this topic, when we go through an introduction, when we see that this one is a title and then this one is an abstract, so we will expect in their literature review they should have a discussion. Okay, in the first topic, in the abstract and the introduction, you can observe that they have mentioned about the ACD and then their extension and so on. So we will expect in their literature review, they must be mentioned about what is the ACD model, the first thing. Okay, and then of course their extension. Okay, this one is what we expect in the literature review or the introduction section. Under the introduction section, they will mention about this thing, some survey on it. Okay, and then of course in this one they will mention about existing diagnostic tests. So what is a diagnostic test? If you're working on this area, then you'll know that what is a test, like testing the residue, whether they fulfill the assumption or not. Okay, so they have many of the different tests to test it. Okay, after that they mention about the joint models for the arrival time of event and some market characteristic. Okay, so in the literature, in the abstract also, they say that they will provide the empirical application of the ACD model and the future research. These are the things is appear in the first in the abstract. So if you go through the paper, you roughly will go through a paper. They will mention the first paragraph will mention about the introduction about what is the high frequency data. Okay, because the ACD model will be related to the high frequency data. Okay, then after that they will mention about what is the existing ACD model they have. Okay, so they have mentioned about what is the motivation of the ACD model. Okay, so in the introduction part, you also can find out they will put their research objective in the introduction part. Okay, so in most of the research paper, if they follow the research paper, they will put their objective of the study. They will tell you that this one is the objective, what I'm going to do, okay, or this one is the what is the research gaps, okay, I want to address through this paper. Okay, so in this paper also they have mentioned to you the objective of this study is to review the theoretical and empirical work that has been done on the ACD since their introduction a decade ago. Okay, so this paper is a year in the 2008. In the year 2008, the first ACD model is in the year 1997. So it's roughly after 10 years. The author is the one of the author is write out the literature, the survey on this particular topic. Okay. So this paper they can publish also is the reason they say that to our knowledge, this is the first survey paper on the ACD models and is aimed to offer a good understanding of the scope of current theoretical and empirical research, including the recent finding. So therefore, you can see that if they want to accept your work, you must have a value. Okay. So this paper, as they claim that they are the first paper. Okay. Other paper also. I mean before that, the author also they have published some work, but theirs one is not the comprehensive. In this research paper, they will summarize more models and then put it together. Not same like the previous author, they partly cover in their book. maybe the Bowen and Gold in the 2001, they only include the first model. The Shea 2002, they also include the 2 or 3 models only. Then after that, Engel and Roussel, they include others model. They are not the comprehensive. So this is one of the selling point of this research paper. Okay, where they claim that they are the first survey paper. Okay. So about the survey paper, of course, the content, I believe that I do not want to go through the one by one. So they will tell you about the ACD model, the development of the ACD model, and then about this one, as I mentioned, we no need to go through in detail about the formula. Okay. The second part will be the, okay, let me go through it. Okay. I think I do not want to go through one by here. Let me go back here. Yeah, the section number 2, they will mention about the theoretical development. The section 3 we're talking about the diagnostic, and then after that their applications. Then finally they give you a conclusion. But in this paper, in today the work, we only concentrate on the literature review. And then because this one is a survey paper, basically the survey paper, most of the time, they will just survey from the previous research work. So they do not have a new result. But some certain survey paper, they also include the new findings. Instead of doing the survey of the previous work, they also include the new finding. Okay. So this one will be the first paper I will discuss you all. Where if you want to know more detail about this thing, then you can be get from the this paper, the survey paper. Okay, so this one is the first one. Okay, and then the second survey paper I can found is instead of the first one is related to the finance, is a ACD model. About the second one, for those of you working on the time series, the count time series. Then this one is another survey paper they published in the year 2011. But this one is the count data. It means that the data is considered integer. For example, you want to know that how many dengue cases per day. And then you want to survey for the time series from the this year from the, let's say, 2020 until the 2021 to date. Okay, so that one is called the count time series data. Okay, so this one is in this paper is another survey paper where it's a second survey paper, but this survey paper they do not include very comprehensive as the survey paper in this paper. They will tell you in detail about the formula. However, in this survey paper, they only review some model. Okay, that one is called the regression model for the analysis of the count data. So they call it as a generalized linear model. So in this research paper, the first thing they just review some regression model for the analysis of the count time series. So after that, they provide some properties because this one is concentrated on the count time series model. So they provide the certain properties. Because you study the time series data, then you want to study the stationarity, okay, the stationarity of the model itself. So this paper will concentrate on this thing. After that, in the statistic, when you want to estimate the parameter, okay, then they will put here they will have derive the maximum likelihood estimation theory under the minimum assumption. Okay, so these are the survey paper on this particular research topic. Okay, but you can see the trend of their writing out the survey paper. Okay, they were quite compact, not as a previous one. Okay, so they would put it as just for example only. So if those of you working on the integer time series, you will know that under the integer time series, they are called what is called the thinning operator. If you are working on this particular area, then you read this paper, you maybe understand. But in general, in the statistic, they have let's say we are talking about the estimation technique. Means that estimate the parameter. You have a model, you're going to estimate a parameter. I believe that most of you are heard about the name is called maximum likelihood estimation. Or we have a parametric estimation or semi-parametric estimation or non-parametric estimation. Yeah. So in this research paper, basically they will concentrate on the regression model time series. So in particular, it's a generalized linear model to the count time series. Okay. So in this paper, the survey is working on the what are the conditions, because you have a different models. Your model have a certain assumption or the certain characteristic. So you need to know what are the conditions for the stationarity and idioticity of the model itself. Okay. After that, in the survey of this paper, instead of the survey on this particular paper, they also advancement make possible the development of the maximum likelihood estimation theory under the minimal assumption. Okay. So in the second survey paper, they have mentioned to you that these are the survey paper of here. Okay. So the outline, as you can see also, the outline is just a GLM count of the time series analysis. Then it will be shown that the GLM framework enlarge naturally the ARMA methodology. Okay, so this also is a survey paper. Therefore, we do not have much on the what is a new contribution on the research work. Okay, they just do the survey and then they just tell you what happened with the previous year. Of course, they can put some new result here. Okay. Then the third paper I'll go through with you will be here. Okay, for the survey paper, I do not have much because this thing is all the previous work. So the survey paper on the first paper, the survey paper for the first paper and the survey paper from the third paper will be under the similar topic. Okay, so in the year 2008, the Bakura have come out with this survey paper for the first survey paper. Then after that, in the year 2019, they review again the research topic, also under the same topic here. So they provide the new parts under this particular survey paper. If their survey will be similar with the 2008, so this type of the survey paper is no value also. So what is your new contribution? So in this survey paper for the number C, the C here, they will extend from the first survey paper where they survey on the almost all the third generation and some second generation of the conditional duration model. Okay, so this one they will say that notable application of this model and related empirical study. They also mention about their model and the empirical study as well. And then on this paper, they will say that this paper may be seen as an extension to the Bakura 2008. So because in this year 2008, they survey until the year 2008. Then after that, in the year 2019, of course, they will extend their survey on the similar topic, the autoregressive conditional duration model, but they provided the new generation, where the first generation maybe have discussed in this particular paper. The second generation also they have discussed in this particular paper. But in the part C here, they survey on the third generation and some of the second generation of this conditional duration model. Okay, so another thing I need to inform you all, when you go through the survey paper, not necessarily the survey paper will provide fully information on for example, in this topic, they will provide all the information under the ACD model, because depends on the author. If the author can find all, then of course they will do the survey on all the model they have, or they only survey some related or the same characteristic models. They will only survey for the parts of the models only. Okay, don't be assume that the survey paper must provide you all the information. Okay, but as I mentioned, this survey paper will help you a lot only, but may not be all the information must be there. Okay, so the third survey paper will related to the first one where they do the extension here. So this one is why they can able to publish it because they do survey for more. Okay, so this is a paper they publish in the journals here. Okay, it's a journal of economic survey. They will put in this survey paper. Okay, so what they have survey, as they claim it as an early view by the Bakura provides an exhaustive survey on the first and some of the second generation. So we are consider almost all the third generation and the some of the second generation models. So this one is their extension. And then they also provide some related application to this model. Because those are people, if you just provide the model itself, you do not provide the real application, people may not know why it's so important, your model. So therefore, the application nowadays, you can observe that a majority of journal paper, they will provide the application as well to demonstrate that their model is working. Okay. So in this survey paper also, they have written it out the literature review on the ACT models. Okay, so this one is where the introduction part. Okay. So in the here they have mentioned to you other section what they have going to discuss. But what we're going to discuss today is just the introduction only, what I say as a literature review. Okay, so you can see that also they write it out their objective of the study here. Okay, the objective of study. So this the objective of this study is to review the theoretical and empirical work that have been done on the conditional model since 2008. So the second decade after their introduction. So here they have mentioned to you that who are the people is do the survey on this one is one of them is a Bakura, and then the Hush in the 2012 they also provide some compilation of the ACD model, but this paper will review more recent one after 2008. So this one is why they have published it, and then the editor or the reviewer think that their research work is this research work is valuable. So this one is the first part of the survey paper. So from the survey paper, what I have shown to you, these three papers do not have any new results. Okay, I do not read in detail about the paper. Maybe they consist of some application with the different application also possible. But majority of them is just review on the existing model. Okay. So any of you have a question before I proceed with the second one, where you can see what are the selling point, how they're going to find the research question. Any of you have a question? No, Okay, so the survey paper, yeah, if you are interested, you can read the whole paper. Okay, at least as some knowledge. Okay, so I believe that every student you're working on the different research area. So if your research area you can find the survey paper, then you can be use it as one guidelines, or can be save your time to go for the review. Okay, so this one is what I'm talking about, the survey paper here. Okay. After that, the second one. Okay, if you do not have any question, the second one, in the statistic, we can working on the many different area of the statistic. Because in the statistic research, we can go for the distribution theory. We can go for the application. We can go for the different research area. For example, if you are interested about the distribution theory, then you are interested about how do you create the new distribution. For example, binomial distribution, you have a binomial distribution, you have a normal distribution. Can you create the new distribution? So if you create the new distribution, then of course you need to discuss about what is the advantage of the new distribution. Okay, and then how are you going to apply for that particular distribution? Okay, so this one is the first one is if you are working on the distribution theory, then you can come out the new distribution, either discrete distribution or continuous distribution. Okay, if you are working on the certain statistical test, okay, of course in the existing there are many statistical tests is available. For example, if I want to test for the single population mean, then I use a normal or the using a normal or t distribution to test the hypothesis of the mean. But if you have other research topic where they do not have any of the statistical tests, then you can be use create the certain statistical test to test for that particular topic. So this one is later on I will show it to you in the following part. Okay. You also can be have an estimation. I think majority of you you are maybe heard about what is called the maximum likelihood estimation, or the Bayesian estimation, or the method of moment, or you can have another one is a estimation function technique. So in the statistics, we have a different technique of the estimation. So how good is the techniques, or how which technique you should be used? So they, of course, every technique they have a pro and con. So this one is the estimation techniques. They can be compared the different estimation technique, and then which one of the techniques provide you the the smallest variant. Then we compare the efficiency of the estimation techniques. Okay, so there are many different of the area where they provide the theoretical results, and then they come out with methods. So some theoretical results, some of the theoretical results and the methodology are these three examples I given here. Okay, so the first one is related to the statistic. If you observe that the title here is referred to the generalized exponential distribution here. So this paper is published in the year 1999. Okay, it's about the statistic where they come out the new distribution. Okay, they will come out the new distribution, but of course this new distribution, maybe they borrow the idea from the other author, and then they create the new generalized exponential distribution. Okay, so let us go through this part of the paper here. When you do the literature review, I'm referring to the first chapter, the introduction part. Okay, we need to know that if you are working on the generalized exponential distribution, then of course in the literature review you need to provide some background or some research related to this type of the distribution. Okay, so if you observe that the summary of here, okay, this paper is they concentrate on the generalized exponential distribution, and then they concentrate also on the 3-parameter family. So if those people want to consider your research, the research area or the research outcomes is valuable, then they want to know what are the contribution for your paper. Okay, so in this paper, they have mentioned that there are three parameters distribution, where is a gamma and the wobble distribution. So in the abstract, they already tell you clearly where they have existing commonly used for analyzing the lifetime data or the skew data. People were using this one. Okay, these are the two different distribution with the 3 parameter is existing. But they also tell you that why we don't want to use the existing. Okay, it's because both of the distribution have a certain drawbacks. They have a certain limitation on these two particular distribution. Therefore, in this paper, we are going to propose the 3-parameter distribution. Okay, given by here, where they will mention that when the location parameter is not present. So this one is their claim of their research work. Okay, so when you want to come out the new research work, area, it's not the application. I mean, if you want to come out the new work, you need to compare with the existing, because if the existing already you already have existing techniques, then why you don't want to use the existing technique? In this example, you have an existing distribution. Why you still want to propose a new thing? Of course, you need to know what is the limitation. Then what are the why you want to propose the new distribution? Okay, so this one will be the as mentioned in this paper. Okay, and then they're going to propose the 3-parameter distribution under here. So once they propose the distribution, because you propose a new distribution, of course, you need to derive the properties of this particular distribution. Okay, in the statistic, you need to derive out what I mentioned about properties. For example, if you want to come out the normal distribution, you need to know what is a mean, what is a variance, and then how to estimate the parameter. These are the properties under this model. They need to come together. Okay, you cannot say I'm going to propose a one distribution, then I full stop. Then I never tell about how am I going to estimate the parameter, what are the properties of this distribution, whether it's a positive skew or negative skew, what is the whether they have a real support or the positive support. All these things you need to mention about in the whole paper. Okay. So under this paper, of course, they also will have provide the theoretical justification, and then towards the end, they also use one set of data to demonstrate that their model is perform better or fit better than the three parameter gamma and the 3-parameter wobble distribution. So this one is the summary under the abstract here. Okay, so under here, I have mentioned to you that, okay, they have here, unfortunately, this distribution have a certain drawback. But if you want to know clearly the drawback, then we need to have a discuss about what are the drawbacks. They need to discuss in their introduction. Okay, then after that, in this paper, they offer a new family of the distribution, the 3-parameter generalized exponential distribution. Okay. So this is here. Then of course, as I mentioned, they need to discuss the properties of this particular distribution. Okay, in their methodology, of course, they need to help. So if you go through the abstract here, they'll mention about all these things in the abstract. Then what we expect when they want to write in their introduction or in their literature review. So if I read at the abstract here, I will expect that the author will discuss about the distribution of the 3-parameter distribution, because they cannot say they propose a 3-parameter and then they propose another one is a 4-parameter, 5 parameters. Then it's not the fair comparison anymore. Okay, so in the literature review here, if I'm the author here, I will also, you are a student here, I will expect you in the literature review, you need to discuss about the first thing is about these two distribution, the existing distribution, how is it the existing distribution? Then after that, you need to tell clearly their drawback. Okay, what is the limitation of these two distribution? Then only you can tell your contribution. Okay, so if you go through the paper, okay, the first one, they will give you the history about these two distribution. Then after that, they will tell you the major disadvantage or the drawback of both distribution. Okay, so these are the drawback of the distribution. Then after that, they tell the first drawback of the wobble distribution, and then they also tell the drawback of the gamma distribution. Okay, so they will provide these two evidence here, the first one, until here. They will provide the two paragraphs of their evidence, say that what is the limitation of these two distribution. Okay. Then after that, this paragraph, of course, they also mention about the drawback of this distribution. Then after that, they only mention about how good is their techniques, why they can overcome the research gap of the previous, or what is the weakness of that. Then they will propose their distribution. Okay, so the idea of the main aim of this present paper are to introduce the 3-parameter generalized exponential distribution. So because they consist of the 3 parameters, these 3 parameters are referring to the location, scale, and the shape parameters. And then they study the theoretical property of this family and compare them with the respect to the well-studied property of gamma distribution and wobble distribution. Okay, so if you are working on this particular research area, you are going to introduce a new distribution. You need to tell what is your limitation of the existing distribution. You cannot say I suddenly come out the new distribution, then I say that my distribution is very good. But you need to have a justification why the existing distribution is not working. Okay, they of course they have a maybe they have a only minor one drawbacks, or they have a many drawbacks. If you can spell out all, then it's fine. Then after that, you propose your new distribution. Then when you propose a new distribution, of course, you need to provide all the detail of the properties, okay, of that particular distribution. And then you need to compare with the gamma and the wobble distribution. Then this one only can become your introduction part. Okay, so if you want to get the research question, then the research question, when you read through the research paper, you can get your research question, what they have mentioned by the author in the introduction. They have mentioned to you that what they are going to solve the problem. Even though you pass this research paper or the research proposal to somebody, when they read your introduction, they know what are you going to do. Okay, what are you going to solve the problem? Okay, this one is what I'm going to discuss you. Of course, the detail here I do not want to discuss anymore, because this one is talking about in particular on this particular distribution. Okay, so in the statistic, what you can do for first one will be you propose the new distribution. Okay, then we provide the limitation of the existing or the drawback of existing distribution. For the second paper, I will show it to you. Is about the for the second paper here is about the test, the hypothesis test. Okay, you have many of the tests. So this test is a test for the cylindrical data. Okay, so this test is they create in the year 2019. Okay, so this test is one of the hypothesis tests to test the detection of the outlier in the cylindrical data. So they are not in the any type of the data, because you have many of the data, like the normal data, outlier is very common topic. But in the cylindrical data, this type of the data set, they may not be have the hypothesis test available. So therefore, the author have proposed the test. Okay, so this one is should be the new techniques of them. Then what is the basis of the new technique? The new test. The new test will be based on the k nearest neighbors distance. Their techniques they use is based on the k nearest neighbors distance. Okay, so when you want to provide the hypothesis test, for example, I let you know, if you want to find the critical value from the normal distribution, then you need to refer to the normal. If that test is using the normal distribution, if that test is based on the t distribution, you need to have a t table. So now in this example here, you want to have a new test. So the new test also must have a cutoff point, whether you are reject the null hypothesis or do not reject the null hypothesis. But the cutoff point for the new test, this author is proposed is based on the Johnson and Very distribution. So the cutoff point you can use is only for this particular distribution. I'm not familiar with this particular topic, this particular research area. But if let's say this author is come out the cutoff point under this particular distribution, you may think about, can I create another table is where this test can be working for other distribution. So in this one is the new research area. But of course, you want to create the new distribution, you must make sure that you can find the data or your data it follow the certain new distribution. Okay. So this one is what is in the year 2019. Okay, so the author also claimed that, in fact, why they have proposed this test is because no test is available for the cylindrical data. Okay, so let us go through the paper of the introduction, how they propose, then in the literature, in their introduction, how they want to find out the research question. Okay, so this one is should be number here. Okay, so this paper is published by our ISM staff together with the I think the other researchers from the other university. Okay, these two is our researcher from our department. Okay, this one Professor Shimizu is from the Japan. I do not know the first author, maybe is a PhD student or master student, I'm not sure. Okay, so I just highlight a few points here. Okay, they will say that the cylindrical data is combined of the two types of the data or the variable. One is a circular, another one is a linear variable. They consist of the bivariate data. Okay, so however, up to now, no work has been done on the detection on the of outlier in the cylindrical data. So therefore, they propose for this type of the test. Okay, and then of course, when they have proposed the test, they can mention about what is the cutting point, what is the useful of the test, and then they provide the empirical example of here. Okay, so this one is about the abstract here. So if you go through this type of topic, on this type of topic, what you expect in the literature review they will provide. Okay, so in the literature review, of course, the author need to provide some information. They need to provide some information about what is the definition of the cylindrical data. And then they need to mention about these are the definition of cylindrical data. And then because they study on the outlier, as you observe that in the title here, they detect for the outlier. Then they need to define also what is meaning by the outlier here. They need to provide the literature review on the previous one. Previous, maybe they're working on the not the cylindrical data, they're working on the time series outlier and other outlier or the circular outlier. So the second paragraph, they will review on the outlier. Then what else they need to review? Okay, in this particular topic, they need to have some commonly tests. What are the existing tests for the outlier using the K nearest neighborhood distance or the other technique? So they have mentioned to you that the tests for the directional data are given by these are the here only limited author will be study on the test here. Then after that, they will only mention that, however, there is no test available in the cylindrical data yet. So therefore, they propose for this data set for the outlier detection. Okay, so this paper, the first thing is we look at the abstract here. Then from the abstract here, they must consist those of the information we can get from the introduction or the literature review here. Okay. Then from the literature review, they will lead you from the part to the research problem you have. Okay, so for example, in this one, they are talking about the cylindrical data. Then after that, they mention about the outlier. Okay, then because of they say that most of the test is only for the directional data, but they say that they don't have any of the tests available for the cylindrical data. Therefore, they propose the new test. Okay, so this one is here about this paper is talking about how they're going to come out the idea. Okay, they do the survey of the previous study. So as I mentioned to you, because this paper, I do not read the whole paper. If somebody is summarized for me in this way, so I can see that they only propose a cutoff points for new test based on this particular distribution. Unless this distribution is very flexible or they are general. Otherwise, I may think about it. Can I propose the cutoff point for the new test based on the other distribution where this distribution is more general than the Johnson and Very distribution. Okay, but I'm not working in this area. I do not know. Same like the example here. The 3 parameter gamma and wobble already available, but this researcher, they will propose the 3 parameter generalized exponential distribution, where it's a more flexible than the gamma and wobble, or they try to address certain drawback of these 2 distribution. So similar to here, this is a summary what I can get from this paper. Then we can come out with this one. Of course, the new test also can be based on the other different techniques. In this test, they will mention about the new test is based on the K nearest neighborhood distance. You can think about it if you can propose a new test based on the different techniques. So this one will be a contribution in terms of the statistic, in terms of the methodology. Okay, we are not using the existing techniques to run the result, but we will propose the new test. But in the paper itself, even though they propose a test, but sometimes they going to test about the significant or the testing for other parts. They may use an existing technique, but the selling point of this paper, is the new test. Okay, for the cylindrical data. This one is what is their selling point. Okay. So if you read through, of course, this research paper, they do not write the very lengthy literature review on it. Okay, they will write the very rough idea only. Okay. So the detail about the distribution, the cylindrical distribution, they have mentioned inside here. Okay, the format of they will write it here, and then they are talking about this one is a distribution. Okay, then from this distribution, what else they do? They will concentrate on the outlier in the cylindrical data, and then finally they propose a new test. So the test, of course, they need to have some methodology to support their new test. Okay? So this one will be this paper. For the second one is more to the theoretical work. Okay, but we compare the first paper and the second paper here. This paper they working on the distribution, but this paper they working on the certain hypothesis testing. Okay, for the third paper here is about the parameter estimation. Okay, so this paper we are concentrating on in the statistic. You always will estimate the parameter. Some of you maybe your background is from not from really from the statistic. You know how to use a statistical software. For example, the SPSS. You know your R. You know the MATLAB, or you use the Minitab. They have many statistical software available. Then when you want to fit in your model, you can be just key in your data. They just click the command. You will get your result out. But what happened, how they do the computation, all these things is let the computer programs will do it. Okay. So in the statistic research, some of people, they are interested on the parameter estimation. They estimate the parameter instead of using the software available in the software. For example, most of the research, they will use the maximum likelihood or the Bayesian techniques. So in this author, they propose the different estimation methods by minimizing the probability generating function based power diversion. So this one is the techniques they use. Okay, they minimization the probability generating function. Okay. So in this research paper, they will propose a new estimation technique here. Okay, they will propose the estimation techniques. Then once they propose a new technique, they need to derive the properties. Then of course they need to study about how good is it their estimation technique compared to the existing techniques. Okay, so this one is basically about this paper. Let us go through the paper here. This one is a paper number 6. This paper also published by our the researcher from our department. The first one is a student. The second one is our staff here. The third one is our retired staff. Okay, from ISM. So they are working on here. So this journal is basically on the communication and statistics, and then the simulation and computation. So this paper is basically more to the techniques. Then their techniques will be using once they derive the properties, and then their techniques will be run some simulation. That one I will discuss with you in the next week, the methodology parts. Okay. So if you are looking at the abstract here, so in this paper, they will propose the parameter estimation that minimize the probability generating function based on the power divergence with a tuning parameter to mitigate the impact of the data contamination. Okay, so they will claim that the proposed estimator is linked to the M estimator and hence possesses the property of the consistency and asymptotic normality. So if you deal with the statistic paper, you can see that you will deal with all these type of the properties. Okay, it's a purely statistic, then you will deal with all this part. So in this research paper, because their highlight is a parameter estimation based on the probability generating function, the PGF. So therefore, when they go through the literature, they have a many part is talking about the PGF, the probability generating function. And then after that, they will mention about the detail of that particular advantage of using the MHD. And then of course they are mentioned about the power divergence. So they will mention about what is the advantage of the BHSJ. And then after that, they will link it to their research work. So all the previous researcher, they need to mention here. Okay. And then here, you can see from here, the main motivation for considering the BHSJ, that's BGF divergent, is that unlike recently proposed BGF-based method, there is a tuning parameter that could mitigate the impact of data contamination or the outlier. So this one is their selling point of the tuning parameters. Okay, so in your literature review section, you need to tell the people what is your selling point. Okay, so basically, when we read through the research paper, but this one is not the fixed one. I mean, when we go through the research paper, from their introduction, you can see that what is the research gap they're going to address. Okay, then from the research from the introduction part, you also can see that what they are going to do for the remaining of the sections. Okay, so in this paper, their objective they will mention at here. Not the objective, what is the motivation to carry out this type of the research. Okay, then after that, they will mention about some of the results. Of course, in detail of the result, they will mention in the methodology section. Okay, so they will say that through the simulation study, the proposed method, how good is the proposed methods? Okay, so this one is a selling point of them. The important thing is their work is different from others is because they include the tuning parameters where they can mitigate the impact of the data contamination or the outlier. Okay, so this one is the selling point of this paper, and then what is a new contribution for this particular paper. Okay, then of course at the end of the paper, they will provide some example, or they simulate the data from the simulation. They simulate the data and then they demonstrate the answer. But if you observe it under this section, they provide the two examples on the application of the proposed estimation. Okay, they provide the example how to use it. Then is it their method is better than the existing methods. Okay. So for those of you who are working on the different estimation method, you can have a comparison with the different estimation method, even though the model is already there. Like just now, the first paper here, I mentioned about the autoregressive conditional model. Some of them maybe use the maximum likelihood estimation. You also can use other estimation methods to estimate a parameter. So if you feel that the new estimation method will be more efficient than the existing method, then this one is one of the selling point under the statistic research. Okay. So I show you a few papers. It's all is about the in the theory and methodology here. In the theory and methodology here, the 3 papers here is basically on the set out the theoretical framework and the methods. Okay, for the statistic. Okay. Any of you have a question regarding the first one and the second one? You want to have anything? Anyone to ask? Okay, because as I mentioned, I do not know what is your research area. Okay, you maybe have your own mind, or you can have a discuss with your supervisor. You can have a different research area. Okay, so but you can be follow this type of the direction where you want to find out the research question from the literature review or from the introduction there. Okay, how do you find out? As you can see, they will mention to you that what is a drawback, and then this one is what they propose. Similar to the second one, they say that there is no test. You have a data, you can have a detect, but you don't have the hypothesis test. So they propose a test. For the C, they don't they have a estimation methods, but they want to have a more efficient estimation methods. Then they include the one tuning parameter in their research area. In this particular estimation method, then they propose the new estimation methods under this particular topic, and then they study also their properties. Okay, so as you can see, if you are from the statistics student, maybe your research area maybe want to work on this type of the thing. Okay, so the first one is just help you on the survey so that you can get the more information on this thing. Of course, here in the statistic, you also can get the survey, but because I'm not working on the, like, let's say the distribution, I'm not working on this particular research area, so I do not have information on the survey paper. But if you're working on this particular research area, you can be find out whether there is somebody write the survey or not, because maybe not all the research area somebody have write the survey. Okay, so this one is the second one I mentioned, is about more to the theoretical and the methodology. Okay, so we go through one more part, one more paper. Is the following one is will be they propose the methods and then with the application. So in this particular section here, I will have highlight it out 4 papers. All the 4 papers I will deal with the finance work. Okay, it's a financial model. Okay, so in the third section, we have a methods. We need to come out the methods. What I say the methods here is maybe they have a certain model. Okay, they come out the very one of the model, and then they use that particular models. Okay, or they create the new models to modeling for the time series data. So the very hot topic, I think is not now, is this one, the Bitcoin is a very hot topic in the previous a few years, back to a few years when they introduced is in the year 2008 or 9. Then after that, people were writing the research paper on the Bitcoin because they want to check whether the time series models can be forecast the price, can be forecast the volatilities, can be forecast the movement of the Bitcoin data or not. Okay, so in the third section, I will say the methodology and application together, because their selling point on this paper is they will try to improving the realized gas volatility forecast for the Bitcoin with the jump robust estimator. Okay, so this paper is not published in the statistic, but they also include the certain component in the model itself. Okay, so they try to, this one realized gas model is maybe is the existing model. Okay, they try to include this component estimator inside the model so that they can improve the volatility forecast for the Bitcoin. So in this paper, the main topic is they concentrate on the Bitcoin. maybe this research or these techniques they apply to the other research other data set, but they never apply to the Bitcoin. So also they can apply it in the Bitcoin here, or they apply it in the other data set. Okay. So for this particular paper, the first thing is because they are concentrated on the Bitcoin, so they, of course they need to discuss about the cryptocurrency, in particular about the Bitcoin. The second thing, if you are working on this area, the people interested is about the volatility. So therefore, they study the volatility for the Bitcoin. Okay, studying the volatility of the Bitcoin, they have a many research model or the many of the statistical model they study on it. Okay, but in this particular research paper, they only concentrate on the realized gas and then with the jump robust estimator. So in this paper, their selling point or their contribution, it will be employ the realized cash to estimate the volatility of the Bitcoin return and measure the benefit of the various realized measure in forecasting the volatility. Okay. So let us go through the paper of here. For the paper number 7 here, this paper is published in the year 2020. Okay. So their selling point of this paper, if you observe it, here. Okay. If you observe the abstract here, they just mention about they employ the realized gas model to estimate the volatility of Bitcoin by using the different scale realized measure. Okay. So after that, because they compare many of the different scale measure, then they apply it in the empirical results, and then they claim that which one of the realized measure is outperform than the existing model. So this one is what is their selling point of here. So in this topic, they consist of first thing you need to discuss what is meaning by the first one. They need to mention about here. The second one is mentioned about the estimator here. The third one is mentioned about the family of the here. So there are 3 different areas they need to mention here. Of course, in this paper, they are concentrated on Bitcoin. So the people need to mention about why they only study the Bitcoin. Why is the importance of the studying the Bitcoin. Okay. So in this paper, they will mention about why the beginning with the Bitcoin, because the price is they have a very high jump, and then they can be climb very fast or the drop very fast. So this one is why the people are interested about study the variation of the Bitcoin data. Okay, so they have mentioned about the Bitcoin in the literature review. Then after that, of course, they need to mention about what is the volatility of the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency, what they have studied before that. The second point is a volatility. The third point, they need to mention about what are the existing model people study the volatility. So they will mention on here. What are the techniques where the people have concentrated on the volatility. Okay. Then after that, also, they also mention about because they have a realized measure. So as you can see out here, the 2 regions address cryptocurrency volatility is from an out of sample perspective. So these are the mention of them. Unfortunately, that measure has been criticized as the existing noise estimator and probably lead to the distorted model performance. For this particular paragraph, they will mention about here. They will mention about the measure here. They will mention about what they have in the jump, because they say that they use a jump robust estimator. So of course they need to mention about what happened with the previous estimator. So in this paragraph, they have mentioned to you that they criticize as existingly noise estimator. So they will affected the model performance. So in that case, they will come in the why they need to use a jump. So therefore, they widely use, those of them is called the realized variant. So they have a many type of the realized variant they're considering. Okay. So this one is what they have in the research here. So in this research, altogether the first a few key points. After that, they also mention about little research have been done on the usefulness of the Argos model or the benefit of the real-life measure in forecasting the cryptocurrency volatility. They say that there is a research, but there are little research have been done on the usefulness of the Argos. Okay, maybe somebody have done the GAS X, but they never go for the Argos, or they don't have the many research on the Argos. In particular, they concentrate on the different type of the real-life measure. So this one is a main contribution of the paper where they try to study on the Argos, and then at the same time, they want to study what happened with the different estimator. So the different estimators so that they can improve the model performance. Okay. So this one is all about the here. Okay. So in this study, they also still in the introduction section. In this study, we propose to use a realized model that incorporate the various real-life measures. So this one is the main contribution for this paper. They want to incorporate the realized measures so that they can improve the forecasting performance. Okay, or which of the real-life measure will lead them to provide the better forecasting performance. Okay, so this one is about this paper. Okay, so in this paper, basically they have a model itself, they have a methods, and then they apply to the application, and then from the application they compare the performance. Okay, so I would think I will stop until here first because some of the Muslim they need to go for prayer. So I stop at here. Then we'll continue at the 8 o'clock. Okay, yeah. Oh.